Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UPNradio.com.
That is so appropriate. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to Deborah Cobalt Live. And that music is for me, isn't it?
Of course.
Okay, because this weekend I walked the LA City Marathon, and look what I got. I finished. I am so proud of myself. Thank you.
Go.
Kurt, what do you think?
That is amazing.
I am impressed with myself, I have to tell you. Let me tell you who's in studio joining me this week, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about my marathon experience. We've got Nikki Haskell. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. This is fun.
Socialite, investor, real estate entrepreneur. You've done just about everything. You know just about anyone in Hollywood, and you got a lot of stories that you're going to uncover for us, right?
Absolutely.
Including a little bit about our President of the United States.
Without question.
And we have my dear friend, Janine Sherrill. Oh, my God. How can I mess up your name? I've known Janine. We go back to our CNN days. Janine is gorgeous. I love her. She's brilliant. She's a blogger. She's a writer.
Wow.
And she's a producer for E! Entertainment on Fashion Police. So that is amazing.
That's right.
So we're going to talk a little bit about trends and about fashion. And you always look fashionably perfect, Janine. I mean, you just walk out the door.
I knew I liked this girl.
No, she does.
She does.
Janine
Thank
always
you,
did.
Deborah.
She still does.
Always
and
has great taste.
As you do. Look at you. I mean, and I have on my necklace today, too. My medal from the LA City Marathon.
So how long was the marathon?
Well, the marathon, depending upon if you were the guy who won from Kenya, it was, I think, 2 hours plus for that guy.
Yeah, I saw that.
And for me, I'm a walker, and I did it in 7.5 hours.
Really?
I have a little.
Start?
Well, I'm going to tell you. You know what? I'm going to read a little blog. Can I do that? Because
Sure.
it's sort of, people kept saying to me, and I mean, everyone I know is like, why are you doing this, Deborah? Why did you even want to do a marathon? So I have a little teeny post. And I think that it would make some sense. So you guys ready?
Yes.
Without question.
All right, here we go. I've never done this. I've never read like my blog on the air. But for those of you who didn't read it, here you go. Okay, a few months ago, I was walking in my neighborhood and I asked some random people at a street corner if I could have a cup of water. They were handing them out to the runners passing by. "What's this for?" I said to them. "Oh, they're training for the LA Marathon. Why don't you join us?" I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding? I can't even run to the street sign with my asthma. "You can walk it," the man said, as though he was reading my mind. 26.2 miles? Okay, I'm in. Where do I sign up? And just like that, I became one of those people, a marathoner. I started training for with the LA Roadrunners, Walkers 3 once a week, and I never turned back. These are some of the most supportive, kind, and inspiring people I've ever met. Some of them are older, some of them are younger. I was the slowest, but it didn't matter. I was in this thing now, and there was no turning back. I'm not sure what motivated me to do this. I remember walking that morning, trying to escape that gut-wrenching loneliness that I felt, having lost my parents in recent years. They're always there, and sometimes I just want to call them, but I can't. So I walk. And perhaps on that morning they heard me, and they reached out to hand me a cup of water, as if to say they're right there walking with me. So I'm doing this marathon for them and for my boys, and to inspire anyone else out there that if you just keep going and you get out of your comfort zone and never ever give up, something will happen. I'm not sure if I'll make it to the end or how far I'll get, but already I feel like I've crossed the finish lines with the lessons I've learned. And I really felt that way, and we all know now. Oh, there's Janine. Oh my God, because you know.
You're gonna make me cry.
Well, it's true. It was a really tough morning, and I was walking in the street. And these random people just handed me some water. And it's true. If you just keep going, don't you know we've all been through really tough times in life? Some of us may look like we've never been through tough times, but we all have, right?
Oh, my God.
And we
have we?
keep it in, we keep it out. And here I am a couple months later,
Good girl.
and I earned this guy. And I'm really proud of
You should
myself.
be.
And that's
You
why I'm
should
wearing
be,
it around my
yes.
neck. You know, I had a couple of blisters. My girlfriend Mary's in studio. My girlfriend Mary and Karen and a few other friends, they all showed up to walk me to the end because I was practically falling apart.
Where did you start? Where did
Well, you start at Dodger Stadium.
Oh, you
and-
walked from Dodger Stadium?
Oh, yeah, girl. You start at Dodger Stadium and you do the hills. And, you know, I have to tell you, my group started really fast, like at 14 and a half minute mile, which is fast. So I swear to God, I barely got out of Dodger Stadium and I thought, oh my God, I have shin splints. I'm never going to make it. But I just kept going and I kept going. And with each mile, I just kept going. And then it's all really beautiful because you're going through downtown. The sun's coming up. Do you have any pictures?
Yes.
You could show them if you want. The sun is coming up, and you're passing Disney Hall, and you're going up the hills, and it's really beautiful. Echo Lake, and you're passing Chinatown and Little Tokyo, and you just keep going. And around mile 18, I was in Century City, and I thought, ugh, I have to keep it up because I was on Santa Monica Boulevard, and it's really wide and straight and sunny, and I thought, oh boy. But I just kept going. And then as I turned the curve to get on San Vicente, for all you people who don't know the local landscape, I'm describing it, in Brentwood, and there were my friends and my family, my husband and my youngest son was there, and they just started to walk me down to the end. So thank God, because my girlfriend was like, do you want some Gatorade? I'm like, yes. I'm taking the cups, throwing them on the side. I'm not speaking. I'm like, please, I can't talk. Which for me, anyone who knows me is rare. I love to just talk and talk and talk. And I said, I can't say a word. Just give me my drinks. So I'm actually really proud of myself, right?
You
How
should be.
often do we
Yes.
say that about ourselves? We're
No,
like,
but it's empowering.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
It's huge that you did it, and I think especially for some people, as you get older, you get a little bit less adventurous, and I love
my
that
God.
you did it. When you're younger, it's like, yeah, I'll go out for this team, I'll go out for that club, I'll be, I'll volunteer for this and that. But I think you start to get a little bit
sedentary,
not
you
as-
mean? Yeah.
sedentary
Oh my
in
God, I've
certain
gone the
ways.
opposite. I'm exactly the opposite.
I'm so glad to hear that, and I think it's great.
think
So
it's
guess what I
great.
did that night? I was laying there and I needed a masseuse to come to the house because you're in a little bit of pain.
Oh, yeah.
And I woke up on Monday and I said, I think I want to do the New York Marathon now. And my
Wow,
husband was
good
like,
girl.
what? So we went online and we looked for it. It's November 5th, and I think I'm going to do that one too.
Good
and
girl.
today, the information came out for LA. So I'm going to be one of those people. Some guy who was handing me
love it.
water, Rudy, that's you. Now I'm going to be somebody who does marathons.
So I was in the high heel division.
Of the marathon?
Yeah.
You probably would be. Wait. Can I just tell you one more thing before we go on about you guys? Do you know the history of the marathon? I found it kind of interesting,
I
really.
don't.
Okay. Because around mile 25, I said, why? Why do you have to keep going to 26.2? There's a reason. Do you know, ladies? Anyone? Mary? My board guy? No?
Nope.
I'll tell you.
No idea.
Way back in the day, let me read this thing. Around 490 BC, there was a messenger, and he left the city of Athens in Greece. And he had to deliver a message to the people in Athens about the fact that they were winning against the Persians. So he, I guess, ran or walked. I wasn't there. I don't know. But by the time he went 25 miles, he reached Athens. He gave the message. He delivered it. And he dropped dead. And people thought, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. Let's make a race out of it. So then they decided to have a marathon in ancient Greece, as we all know. And it was 25 miles. And then for many, many centuries, I guess, the marathon just went away. Came back in the 1800s, and in 1908, the British royal family, I believe it was Queen Alexandra, she wanted to start it on her lawn at Windsor Castle, and she wanted to end it over at the Olympic Stadium. And in order to do that, it added 1.2 miles, just so her kids could see it out of their nursery. So they, of course. But of course. So after that, it stayed at 90, oh my gosh, imagine. It stayed at 26.2 miles because of the Queen of England, so that her kids could see it out of the window. So they can't change it back to 25 because that's when they started clocking it,
Right.
people's times. So they have to keep it. So a little bit of... I really feel empowered. I said to my husband this morning, I said, so is this what it's like when people win an Oscar? Because I really feel like I've done something very special. I'm just kind of walking around like this. So,
You should.
yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So,
Good
there.
for you.
So you know what that's like. So I had to get that out of my system. It's a whole new thing.
Good.
I sort of was limping in here today because I'm still in pain. Have you ever done anything like that, you guys?
I went dancing in Studio 54.
I know,
I
that's
would
right.
dance by
See?
3-4 hours at a time.
Okay.
That's about it for me.
I can't wait to hear these
But I
stories.
was in the high heel division. I ran from the lobby of the Beverly Hills Hotel to the pool.
in record time.
And you
In
kept
record
and you
time.
kept your heels on.
I
So
kept
you-
my heels on.
Yeah, I don't know how people do that. I can only walk in sneakers. I'm a little flat-footed, so how people even walk in heels.
I don't even have sneakers.
You don't. Yeah. Well, see that's. Do you? Are you a heel person?
I am such a heel person. Yes,
are. Most
I
people
tell
are.
everybody. I go to check the mail in my heels. I always wear heels. I love them. I feel much more comfortable
Me
in
too.
them. And I think that's
Sexy
maybe
and
why we bonded.
attractive.
I read a quote that you said.
What, if I can't do it in high heels, I won't do it.
I'm not interested.
Okay. And I laughed because I was reading quite a bit about you the
Mm-hmm.
past couple of days, and you would be hanging at Studio 54 with all sorts of people, including Emil DeMarco. So talk about high heels.
Well, she wasn't I was in the Philippines with her.
Oh, so you're. Oh,
Get it
gosh.
straight.
Sorry. Oh, you were in the Philippines with Emil DeMarcos.
Yes.
Didn't realize that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
Did
but
you
she
ever get
liked
to
to
see-
dance.
Did you
She
ever
used
get
to
to see
dance
her
all
shoe
night.
collection? Could you
well,
imagine?
the truth of the matter is that she had a big shoe collection, and I don't have
Hell yeah.
I don't have respect for anybody that doesn't have at least 300 pairs of shoes. But the shoe collection that she had was because of the fact that she started the shoe industry in the Philippines. So everyone gave her
Oh.
all these shoes.
See?
So there were rooms filled with shoes.
Did she
Well,
ever give
that
them
makes
away,
perfect
or she
sense.
kept them?
She gave most of them away, but she kept them because the people that manufactured the shoes came over and wanted to actually see that she had the shoes.
300 pairs. Do you have 300 pairs of
Oh,
shoes?
those
Well,
were
I'm
just her
under
shoes.
that, but
Those were just her shoes. Then there were rooms filled with shoes. But those were from the people that they started the manufacturing in the Philippines of shoes.
Oh,
She
you know,
she did a lot of things, but the shoe was really not the least of her.
my husband works on the radio, and we first moved out here. I don't know, he was doing some kind of stunt, and he counted all the shoes in my closet, and he went to over 400. I don't know how, because when I tell you I wear the same 3 or 4 pair of sneakers day and night, ball gown, it doesn't matter. I just wear.
You wear sneakers and a ball gown?
Practically, I'm surprised I didn't get married in them. I mean, I just am not really very balanced. Even in a low heel, I struggle. So he gave away like 200 of them on the radio a long time ago. Could you imagine? And a friend of mine called
What
up. she
size
said-
shoe do you wear?
I was
an
just gonna
8,
ask.
maybe a 7.5 or 8. No,
Damn.
a friend of
5.5. I
A
wear
friend of mine
5.5.
called and she said, "Do you know John's giving away your shoes on the radio?" I said, "What?" So half of my shoe collection went out the window. So it's a true story. So anyway, Nikki Haskell, thank you so much for joining
Well,
us.
thank you. It's because of this little
It
cutie
is because
pie.
of Janine. Well, okay,
She's
a
the
little
best.
background with Janine. Okay, we did work together over at CNN. She was always much smarter and prettier,
Oh,
and
stop.
still ended up my
Please.
friend. I love her. She's just amazing. But she
love
was
you
going to
too.
be coming on to talk about the Oscars and the Grammys because she works for Fashion Police and has all that cool inside stuff. But you were so busy, you really couldn't. And then I think your kid was sick at one point.
Yeah.
We all know how that goes.
the world stops.
And you were kind enough to still, designate some time and come on today. So we're going to talk a little
Well,
about
thank
fashion
you.
trends and all about that and about how you got into this. And you were kind enough to introduce me to Nikki.
She's so adorable because she said, I said, let's have lunch. And she said, no, I'm going to do the show. So she said, I'll see if I can get you on the show too. So this is definitely more
This is
fun than
actually
having
perfect.
lunch.
It's like a little girl. This is like a girl's lunch. You know what?
It
Yeah.
is minus the food. This is a
Honestly,
girl's lunch.
we
This
should have
is
had a
just
little bit of
perfect.
lunch.
No,
and
but
we
this
could've-
is
that
how you
would've
start a diet. It's a girl's lunch without food.
Yum.
That's actually perfect. And we've got our water, so this is all we need.
I was in the diet. I used to think, wouldn't it be great if you just had a picture of lunch, and you just put the picture down, and you went out for lunch, and then you just had the picture of the food and not eat.
You know, in
Yeah.
this
And
town-
you weren't grumpy after.
In this town, I love to lunch and I love to eat. I know I go to lunch with people all the time and no one's eating. They're picking out a little piece of salad. They grab a walnut off the salad and then they're done.
I'm a split lunch. I split everything.
With your friends.
Right.
That's a smart idea because
it
you
is.
still get what you want. You don't have to clean your plate. You have to share it.
I eat
How about
very
you?
little.
Are you like a big eater?
No, I'm a big splitter, but I do like to have my meals. I like to have something in the morning. I like to go to lunch like you. I love it.
I'm a picker. That's the thing.
And dinner also. I love to cook and I love to go out just as much.
Yeah,
So-
last night when we were talking, you were getting ready.
I
with,
was.
making
I
your
was
dinner. I'm like,
making
okay,
my dinner.
I'll call you back. I'll be over. But yeah, so a little bit about you. I found fascinating that
Yes.
lots of things fascinating about
See?
you. But I love that you were married to the same guy twice, Jack.
Right.
And that when you moved to New York, you went to school and studied investing and became a stockbroker.
Right.
I loved that about
New York
you.
Institute of Finance.
Right.
I was
Yeah,
among
one
the
of the
first
first
five female stockbrokers in the world.
Yeah, so you're just a real trailblazer. I love
Yes.
that. And you, I guess, got interested in investing because after divorcing him the first time, you got an $18,000 settlement, which I guess was okay for back then. And then you invested in and made a little small fortune with it.
Yeah, and that's so when he said to me, "Why don't you get a job?" I went, "Job? Why would I want to get a job?" And then I thought, well, maybe I'll be a stockbroker. I made so much money in the market. Never entered my mind there weren't any women on Wall Street. A friend of mine owned a brokerage firm, and they gave me a job, and that was it
And where was that again?
in New York.
Yeah, but what was the name of the...
Drexel Burnham.
Yeah, Drexel Burnham. But, you know, you've lived a charmed life. You've known so many people, even when your parents, when you lived in Chicago as a young kid, your parents knew all sorts of people that
Took me to nightclubs from the time I was 6 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
That was
Milton
so much-
Berle, Jimmy Durante, I mean, all the old guys, but the legendary guys.
Right.
And,
I was friendly with Milton till the day he died. I loved Milton. He was so much fun.
and you were just a little kid. We're talking back in
Well, I
Chicago.
was 6
Yeah.
when I started. Carmen Miranda
God.
was the first nightclub act I ever saw. I took one look at her. I thought, I'll take one of those.
Oh
I
my God.
loved
Exactly.
it.
See, you know what I
Yeah.
think? When I was reading about you, I thought that left an impression on her
Oh,
as a
it
little
sure
kid
did.
back in Chicago. Of course, you were destined for a life like this.
It was
really,
great.
really had an impression, and then it makes sense. And then you moved here. You were around 12 or 13. You
Yeah.
lived in Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills.
Dad passed away. Mom got a job. You
Right.
know what I liked about you? Because this would have happened to me. You were voted biggest flirt as a senior in Beverly Hills High School, right?
That's
Right.
an honor.
Biggest flirt and
I
best
think-
line.
And best what?
Best line.
Whoa. What's your line?
What was the
No, it was like snappy patter, you know.
Oh.
I always had something to say about everything.
Oh,
and
so you
still
were
do.
quick. So if
Right.
something was going on, it's like you sort of were.
started young?
Yeah.
I started
still
young.
got it.
You have to
Yeah.
start young. It takes so long to accomplish anything. If you don't start when you're born,
You know what? It's got to be part of your personality. It's either in there or it's not. Sounds like you were born with this.
yeah,
And
you have to have
probably
an.
you too.
Yeah, both of us. We both have an A personality.
Oh, the three of us.
A with a bullet.
Okay, you
A
want to hear
with a
something
bullet.
funny? When I was a little kid and I was on my school bus, I don't know, I guess I was in kindergarten going to school bus at the little Catholic school I went to. Everybody's, talking in the back, the girls, like, what do you want to do? And the girl's like, oh, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a fireman, a teacher. And I swear I remember this. I stood up on the seat and I said, I'm going to be a movie star.
That's what I
Well,
said.
It didn't happen, but I'm just saying, when you feel something like that on the inside, it never really goes away.
Never.
I was a shy kid, though, so I don't know how that would have happened. But, I guess, what did you want to be when you were a little kid?
I wanted to be a newscaster.
Really?
I really did. And I hosted something when I was 11 years old. I was a host on a show called Kids World, and it was a syndicated entertainment news show for children. And
great
I knew I
thing.
wanted to do it, and I would come home from school, and my brothers would be fighting me for the TV. We're watching cartoons, and I would say, "No, we are not. We
No,
are
we're
watching
not."
Connie Chung. We're watching the news right now.
Oh, Janine,
no
I love
cartoons."
this.
And
wait,
I
why do I
always
know?
just loved it.
You won that argument too, didn't you?
Absolutely.
I know
was
it
the
because I know your
oldest,
brothers.
and,
That's
I
it. Get
ruled
out.
the roost. Yeah. Yeah.
But your dad was in the music business, so again, you were exposed to this kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Jerry was your dad's name,
Right.
is
Jerry
your dad's
Sherrill.
name,
Yes.
Jerry Sherrill.
Yes. Still
So-
in the music.
Yeah, so I mean, you two grew up sort of exposed to all kinds of interesting people.
Right.
Like, what kind of folks would come walking through your door? Being in
Well,
the music industry. I mean, come on.
When I was younger, my father worked at Electro Asylum Records during a time when the whole California rock movement was just coming into
Oh, how
play.
fun is
So,
that?
oh my gosh, we had the Eagles and Queen and the Cars, Linda Ronstadt, Jackson Brown. It was just a really fun job for your dad to have when you're
Do you know?
kid
Did you
in
know the
Southern
A's?
California?
Do you know the Azovs, the ones who
course.
represent? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh!
yeah.
Well, my middle kid, and they're friends of ours, and my middle kid would always go with their son to the Eagles concerts and all that, and they'd be scootering backstage and causing all kinds of problems. They would have those little chocolate fountains, and they'd be throwing
right,
stuff around.
right.
And I'm thinking, what a life you lead, kid! If you only knew, that you're just backstage scootering around, that it's
Right.
just like normal life to these people.
But I always knew
They're the
it.
greatest people. The Eagles are so amazing, and so
I
are
love them.
Shelley
Love
and
them.
Irving.
And I just heard that Don Henley's going to start touring again. And it's, it's so heartbreaking about Glenn Fry because it'll never be the same. Thankfully, I was able to see them one last time when they opened the Forum a couple years ago. And it was, again, just such an amazing concert. I went with my dad, and I went with my dad to the last time they played at the Forum when I was 13. And so it was just a very special night to be there and to watch it and listen. And they're singing all the songs that are just the soundtrack of my childhood.
I have to say, though, to watch them perform acoustics, you know, even if you just tune it all out and just watch him perform, is amazing. They're such incredible
Fabulous.
musicians, right? The talent is, I get like goosebumps because when I think about their talent, it's massive.
Yeah.
So how cool that you got to do that. See,
was-
so
it
it
was
lived
pretty
in you
great.
too. I mean, you know, now me, I did not have that kind of upbringing. I grew up a middle-class kid in New Jersey, and it was usually the Italians arguing over some sort of food that was being prepared. And I mean, daily, weekly, nightly, and that was the extent of our exciting childhood. So, but it was fun, and it was always a little nutty.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was my childhood.
Well, I had that too. My family, I have a
Mom,
big
mom was
Italian
Italian,
family,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I know. And you and I lost our moms very recently, so it's always a little tough. But you've got that from her, right? The Italian
Oh,
side.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Which are like being Jewish too. It's very similar.
It is very similar.
all the
Same
same.
strength.
Same strength. That's well.
Same
Yes.
strength. Yeah.
Same strength. It comes from in here. There's sort of, you know, women that just
Yes.
have a lot to say.
And don't you dare mess with
And
my family.
don't F with my family. You understand? And so yeah. So you're Jewish. You're what? You're Italian and
Catholic.
right. You're Italian
And-
Catholic.
yeah,
You went to
and,
Catholic schools like I
went
did.
to Catholic schools my whole life. Yeah.
I went to
grade
Beverly
school and
Hills High School. It was as Jewish as you could get.
Right. Well, you were, you know, big flirt. So, you know, you certainly made an impact. So, okay, Nikki, back to you. So, after high school, what did you do then? You know,
I got out of high school. I was from the age everybody got married right away. So of course I was about 23 years old and I got married.
to Jack. Okay.
Jack the first time. So
Jack the first time. I love that. I love when people marry the same guy twice. You know.
Don't do that.
fascinated
I
by
don't.
that.
I don't recommend it.
I've been married for so long with my husband. If I dumped him, I wouldn't marry him again. So there you go. No,
I didn't
he
even
knows
wanna
that's a
marry-
joke.
I didn't even want to marry mine the first time. I sort of got talked into it. But then I was married for a year and a half, and I got divorced, and I was divorced for 2 years, and I remarried him for just under a year. But the only thing
Why? Because it got you to New York? I mean, what happened?
but it did actually get me to New York. But I
know.
mean, it just was one of those sort of strange things that I remarried him again. But the truth of the matter is, I would never have gotten to New York because I would have stayed in Beverly Hills and I would have done whatever. So it really it fit. It ended up being the right move because I would never become a stockbroker.
Right. And also, another thing, you were very friendly with the Trumps.
I was
find that
very friendly with the
interesting.
Trumps, very friendly with Donald. I met Donald in the 70s when I was a stockbroker. I've just done 9 documentaries on Donald. I have all the original footage from my television show, The Nikki Haskell Show, which is on Amazon Prime. I was the first person that ever interviewed Donald. And
I love this. How old was he? And he was good looking.
He
I used to
was-
interview him in Atlantic City when he was going bankrupt. And
Yeah,
I actually got assigned to follow him around. He's quite an interesting character.
Yeah, I was in-
bravado, right?
You know, it's funny because when I first met Donald, I was a stockbroker.
Right.
And I attempted to do a couple of business deals with him through a man that I was dating, and then he met Ivana, and I became best friends with Ivana. So it just sort of evolved.
She was brilliant. She is brilliant. She's
an
a brilliant woman.
unbelievable. You have no idea.
No, I
she
do.
built the Trump Tower. Of
course
we
she
went
did.
to Italy, and she had a map that she rolled out. We went. She bought this entire mountain of pink marble, and every slat that she picked was marked on a diagram. So it wasn't like you just picked a lot of pieces. Every piece went with every piece on this diagram of the lobby of the Trump Tower, which is 6 stories high.
She worked very hard.
And she redid the Plaza Hotel in a week. She painted it, carpeted it, draped it.
I believe it.
And everything that didn't move, walk, or talk, she painted gold.
And if I can say, moving forward a little bit, you were a Trump supporter.
Yes, I
And
went to the
that's-
inauguration.
I was there too. I was at the Liberty Ball. We were there as journalists. It was very interesting, and we were invited by some people. I did not vote for him. My husband did vote for him, but we're both in the news business, so we were invited, to join and participate. It was wonderful.
I didn't go to the Liberty Ball. I went to the candlelight dinner, to the Pence dinner, and to the Liberty luncheon.
Right. Well, you were a
Which was-
supporter, and you.
was well, I actually went with my girlfriend who raised $4.5 million for Donald, even though I'm friendly with the family. I was there when all the children were born. I was there when all the children were married. So I'm, like a part of the family.
I've never heard much written about them where people don't like them. I do know that the Sons, you get a lot of heat for, with them,
Yeah,
in
and
Africa.
but do you want to know something really weird? Because so when Donald and Ivana got divorced,
Yeah.
we went on the boat every year. So I was always with the kids. So I actually grew up with the kids.
Yeah.
And Donnie Sr. used to read a book. It was this big when we were on the boat about fishing and camping and hunting. He was into it when he was a kid.
So he was into it as a kid.
Yeah.
So
they go to reserves where I don't condone it, but they actually go to reserves where they have animals that are bred to shoot. Not that it makes it any better. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't agree with it, but, hunting is a big sport.
But what's interesting is you've been a lifelong Democrat most
Yes,
of your life.
I am
and
a
this is a
Democrat.
man that you know, that you trusted, and you decided to support him and back him. And your friends, essentially, in Hollywood sort of turned on you.
Yes. Did you see the article in the New York Times?
I did see. How did that make you feel? I mean, especially, what did somebody say about you on Facebook? You said, you woke up and you said, oh, what did you say? I'm trying to find my notes. But that he won. And then you were, what did they say? I can't find my notes. I can't even understand my own scribble.
Listen, I've been taking heat all my life. I'm always controversial. I'm always in the middle of everything. Listen, I took a lot of heat for being friends with Madame Marcos. I mean, big time during that when she went, I've always, and I have.
I can imagine. But this is like right here, front
but you
and
know
center.
something? You know what? I'm a person that, I'm not going to take any flack from anyone. I do what I want to do. Hopefully I do the best. I want this to be an amazing country. But if I vote for Donald Trump and you vote for Hillary Clinton, I'm not going to be mad at you.
I think that's wrong. Do you mind if I ask who you voted for, Janine?
I voted for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
She's a
and
big Clinton fan.
Right, and I voted for Hillary. I didn't really particularly care for her that much, I will tell you, but I think she was hardworking, and to be honest, I wanted a woman in there. So did
I. I wanted a woman
put my
in
vote
there.
for her. But I have to tell you, people who were at the march and people who voted for her are so angry at friends of mine and colleagues of mine who voted for Trump. And I said, no, that's not right. This is a democracy. You have the right to vote for who you want. How can you judge somebody? Yeah, so that's wrong.
One of my best friends for 40 years, Beverly Johnson.
I know Beverly, yeah, the model.
Right. And she actually called me on the phone and called me a racist and said that she wasn't going to speak to me anymore for voting for Donald Trump. I didn't even know that she even cared. I mean, it was like, where did this come from?
Well, I actually try and turn people around about that, and I say, just try and look at the man and who he is. They say he's not really very respectful of women. Again,
That's not true.
I agree because I didn't vote for him, but the times that I covered him, he was extremely respectful, and the women that I knew who worked for him were so happy.
And there were so many. When Donald started, I mean, what man gives his wife the responsibility of building 3 hotels?
Yeah, but maybe he was trying to get rid of her so he could be with Marla.
No, but this is before Marla. This is before that Marla.
I remember seeing Marla going down the escalator, I swear to God, in Atlantic City. It's funny how I just noticed her. She was in white shorts and a little white shirt, and she was coming down the escalator because we were covering him every day. He'd walk into usually the Taj Mahal because that was his favorite one. And I remember
But they were divorced by that time. When the Taj Mahal opened, I was with Ivana in Florida.
I don't remember. I'm not sure.
I remember vividly. The Taj Mahal opened, and they were already separated. And we were in Florida at Mar-a-Lago. Ivana had a girlfriend's weekend, that weekend that they opened.
Look, it happens. I mean, he leads a huge life.
People were calling me and saying, this is long before that, Donald's cheating on Ivana. I was like, and I called Donald and I told him.
And what did he say?
Thank you. I appreciate you calling me.
That sounds like something he would say.
He did.
Oh, my gosh. So have your friends calmed down now that
No.
you've... Oh, so they're still pissed off.
Yeah.
Okay, then they're not friends. If anyone's going to judge you based on your politics, that's just wrong.
So stupid.
Janine, have you ever met him?
Donald Trump?
Donald Trump?
I met him one time, and it just a real...
Okay, but allow me. You've met another president. And, now, may I say, your boyfriend that you've dated for quite some time is Steve Tyrell.
Who's the greatest.
I think so.
Amazing.
Yay, Steve. We love Steve.
Okay, what I will say is what a life you lead. I mean, where were you? Do we have a picture of Janine meeting the president, Bill Clinton, and his wife, Hillary? Do we have that?
So, I went to Bill Clinton's inauguration. I was a big Clinton fan.
See,
right.
But to me, I have to tell you, that's America. You went to his inauguration. You supported Trump. It's your right. And that's why it's amazing to be able to live here and have the right to do that and just not judge. And anyone who's judging, then I don't want to be friendly with them because they're going to judge anything I do if I do something wrong, right?
Well,
but tell me about meeting the Clintons.
I have to say, this was pretty fantastic. My
look at that
boyfriend,
picture.
Steve. Oh, there we are. He performs at the Cafe Carlisle every year. He's been doing it since 2005. He's there from Thanksgiving to New Year's Eve. So we get a call saying
fun.
that. Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh my God.
So we get a call saying that Chelsea's coming. I thought, oh, great, Chelsea. I'd love to meet Chelsea.
Oh, I'll just wait for her with a friend.
Then 20 minutes before showtime, there comes a text. Bill and Hillary walked in with her. And it was just,
Okay, wait, stop.
nobody had heard from Hillary in such a long time.
What do you do? Like, are you the one who gets up? Is Steve on stage? Like, what do you do? Like,
Well,
I'm
we
the
were a little
girlfriend.
bit scattered. I had my college roommate in town, and I'm at dinner with her and her husband. And I got the text, and all of a sudden it was, check, please.
I got
Uber. Get up.
No.
Get me back to the Carlisle.
Girlfriend, pay for this thing. I gotta go.
It was a little frenzied, but I have to say, Steve, cool as a cucumber. Anyway, of
course,
get to
he's
the
the
show.
ultimate
Everything is
performer.
so fantastic, and he has a little bit of history with them as well, which was so lovely. But what was wonderful is to see her with Bill in a relaxed setting. This was one of the
Hillary.
first outings that they had since the election. And, she hadn't been heard from in about a month, and she was there, and she was relaxed, and she's in her bright red suit. And
they were together.
And they were normal. And, they were sitting side by side and having dinner, and you could see him saying, do you want to taste the chicken? Sure, I'll taste the chicken. And then
Wait, but did Chelsea come too, or did
Chelsea
she
was
not
there
make
too with
it?
her husband, Mark, who was lovely.
Yeah, they're great.
Oh, what a great couple. So, the beginning, I was looking at them, and I just couldn't help but sit there and watch her, and tears were streaming because I just thought of all she's been through, not during this, during this election, but
has
her
been through a
life,
lot.
In her
dedicating
life.
her life
Absolutely.
to serving other people and our country.
Regardless of your politics, she
Yes,
was
I think
amazing.
She's a fabulous
But
woman.
Oh, yeah.
this is what's interesting when you talk about people and their politics, and you put it aside and look at the person. At the end of the night, Steve closes with "That's Life," which is a very famous
Oh.
Sinatra song. That's life.
That's life.
Sing
Can
it,
we
baby.
sing? Oh, please!
So-
you don't want me to sing. I can run a marathon, but I
he-
cannot sing. Okay, keep going.
So he's done this song every night. It wasn't anything that he picked just because she was there. And he said, I'm going to dedicate this to you, Hillary, but not even thinking of the lyrics. And it comes to a point where they say, when I find myself flat on my face, and he's pointing at her, I pick myself up and get back in the race. And everybody, I don't care who you voted
Wait,
for.
Steve was looking at. Oh,
He's up on stage pointing at Hillary. Everyone in that room stood up, applauded. It was like time stopped. It was the most powerful moment. Bill took her arm, raised it in the air,
Great.
and
What a
it was
great
just one
moment.
of those moments. There were chills all over, and it was great because people got it. They might not have voted for her, but they got it, and they knew that they were in the presence of somebody who really fought a tough
That's
campaign
right.
and
Huge.
wanted
and
to
felt
serve
it.
our country.
What about after, when he was finished with the performance? Did you sit down and eat with them? Did you invite them backstage?
Well,
Did they
we
just scurry
took
away?
many pictures, and we
Yeah, I
got
saw
a
a
moment.
lot of them. Yeah, they were
yes.
great.
But I got a moment to talk to both of them, and when I was speaking with her, she hheld my hand, looked at me. I'm telling you, it was like I was the only person in the room.
They're
and there
both
were
good with
200
that.
people in the room, and it was wonderful to have an opportunity to tell her, as a woman, as a Democrat, as an American, how much it meant to me, and to my daughter, and to my son, and to all of us, what she did, what she stood for, what she fought for. So it was very special. And then they were just the most gracious people. They were so fantastic.
I wonder if it's brought them close together, because they've obviously had their time in life, and I mean they're in a relationship. Their relationship might not be like some others, but who's to say,
Right.
And does it seem like they were really
Oh,
really
absolutely.
close?
I
Yeah.
think
they
that they
sat
always
side
have
by
been.
side. I
Yeah.
think so too.
I always,
They have an arrangement. I mean, they just
I
have
don't
a
think they have an arrangement. I think they have a real marriage. I think
well put, I
You know,
guess.
I don't. I hate when people say, "Well, she does her thing." I think they have a real marriage. They couldn't have stayed together all this time if they didn't. I was very close to the Clintons when in Bill's even when they first started. I became friendly with Hillary, and I always thought she was one of the most amazing women. And Bill could knock your socks off. I mean,
I've
he
met
is
him.
so
Very charming.
handsome and so compelling.
Well, you look at him in his eyes and you think, what are you trying to say to me?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, he's so divine.
what am I?
I'm
Oh
listening.
yeah, I am right here. Just tell me, because
Yeah.
it's true. He really
He
can
can
make
knock
you feel
your.
like
He looks right at you. There's no like like this. He is so. He's fabulous. I think
He
they
is
both
fabulous. But yes, to answer your question, yes, I do think they have a very close relationship, and it was
I do
it was
too.
great to see them because the lights were down, and people were watching Steve, but I was watching them, and they're sitting side by side
It's like,
like
Steve,
this.
I've seen you a million times. I'm looking at the president. It's like, just carry on. It's like,
But he's touching her shoulder. They're holding hands during some of the songs. He's got his arm around her. So it was
Wow.
sweet to see that side.
Yeah, and it had just been such a difficult time.
Horrible,
and
difficult.
We all know just the day of the election. Remember, Trump stood up and he said, "Well, we'll see what happens." I don't even think he knew he was going to win anyway. And then
I don't
she's
think he did
apparently in a
either.
celebratory mood, and then everything turned. And
Right.
she had been through a lot emotionally. It was a lot.
Definitely, yeah.
It was a lot. I'm so glad you had that experience.
So
but if
am
I
I.
may, you had another one that really blew my socks off. I got to tell you, Prince Charles. So, do we have that picture? I mean, girl, if you don't live the life, come on.
That was pretty fantastic.
Look at that. Oh, okay. That's one of my favorite dresses. We didn't even get to the fashion police
Oh,
stuff yet. Oh, my
thanks.
God. I love that dress. When you posted that on Facebook,
Thank
I
you.
thought, now I'm pissed off because that is just like too much fun. What
It was unbelievable. And it came out of the blue. It turns out that Prince Charles is a fan of Steve's music. He loves
Jeez.
gravelly voices. I'm like, oh, that is perfect. You know?
Sure, we'll go.
And he invited, and Steve jokes around. He goes, I don't know. In the beginning, I kind of felt like maybe he thought he was calling Steven Tyler. And he's going to wonder, where the hell's Aerosmith?
What happened
What's
to
this guy
Aerosmith?
doing
It's
here?
like he's looking over to his son's going, but I think we got the wrong Steve.
But
It's like,
no,
that's
it was
hysterical.
it was him, and he was fantastic. And of course, I researched on the plane over there. I said, we have to come up with a good song list because. You
wow.
don't want to sing the song he danced to Diana at their
Oh, Lord,
wedding.
could you
and-
imagine? It's
Oh,
like,
right.
What an idiot. Don't you do
So-
your research? Okay, so that was smart. So who did you meet with Prince Charles?
We
Who else
tried
was
to
that?
come up with songs for him to do, and I told him under no circumstances should you do Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, because there's a line in there that says, horizontally speaking, she's at her very best. And thank God I could be oversexed again. I'm like, you don't do that. These people are prim and proper. This is not the audience for that.
Boy, does he not have the right girlfriend? Steve
my God.
Steve is a lucky guy. He really is. I love that you did this, Janine. So
Well, that's our background, our journalistic background.
right.
So, but it was very funny because when we met the prince, we were
prince.
nervous, and like you said, I'd been in this industry for a very long time. We
right, we've
covered
met them
entertainment
all,
news, we
right?
met everybody.
Come on, whatever.
But it's not the same when it's royalty. It's really not the same, and we were both nervous. Steve's met everybody in the world; he's worked with them, but he was nervous too. So, he came and talked to us. He was speaking with Steve.
Where did he perform? Where was the
the
actual?
portrait gallery.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Wait, excuse me.
The
Where
por-
was the portrait?
In
gallery?
It's
Washington.
inside. Inside
No,
Buckingham
no,
Palace.
it was in the Buckingham Palace.
In Buckingham Palace.
Palace.
Let's
How cool
back it
is
up a
that?
little bit, please. For those of us who have not been inside the Buckingham Palace and have only been on the outside with the changing of the guards, thank you. Yeah, my husband can't get me on the inside, so I'm like, really
There's still
impressed.
time. There's still
No,
time.
So
I feel like you're destined
enter
to be
through
there.
into
So
Buckingham Palace.
We go in and we go upstairs to the balcony for the cocktail party, which is where everybody waves. You've seen it 100 times, and we were introduced to the prince for the first time there. And so he spoke with Steve, and then he came over to me, and I said, "It's such a pleasure to meet you." And
Are you allowed to
and,
shake his hand?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
And
was Camilla there?
Camilla was there.
Okay.
And he asked what I did, and I said, "Well, I am a TV producer in the United States, and I work on a show called The Fashion Police with Joan Rivers."
I'm sure he knows it, right? His wife probably watches it at
No.
night.
Well, he knew the show, yes,
Yeah.
but he didn't know that's what I did. So he looks at me and he said, "Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers.
Why is she so bloody naughty?" And
Oh, I
I
love that.
froze. It was probably 3 seconds, but it seemed like 20 minutes.
I bet my
We're
girlfriend
sitting there going, yeah. And he goes, "We love Joan Rivers. She comes to the castle all the time." And
how
it turns out
lovely.
that she was invited to their wedding. She would always
Yeah,
go in.
she was a
and,
great friend
Wait,
of
she
theirs.
was
Stop.
good friend.
Which
Yeah.
wedding? His wedding.
Camilla.
Camilla. So
Yes.
Joan was invited to the wedding.
She
wow.
went to the wedding. They were very good friends. They would go on cruises together. They would paint together. And so it just turned out to be this very lovely thing. So every picture you see, we're laughing our asses off.
Oh, there's you and
because
Joan. There's
he
a
was
picture of you
talking
with
about
Joan.
how naughty she was. There's my Joni. I miss her.
Me too. I love her.
I do too. She was
There'll never
really
be another Joan
what an
Rivers.
experience to be able to work with a veteran, a legend. in the
I
industry.
can't imagine. I
It
mean, I
was-
still get choked up thinking about how she passed away
Oh,
because when
so
it's a surprise,
unconscionable.
Right.
Yep, and when it's a surprise, it's worse. It's harder.
It is.
It's harder. My mom passed away. It was a shock. It was a surprise. She wasn't sick. We didn't expect it. But Joan Rivers, same thing. She went in for something routine, passed away unexpectedly. The whole world knew about it.
Scary.
It's very scary.
It is
It's
scary.
a
I mean,
really
we were supposed to have a conference call at 4:30 that afternoon.
Ooh.
So it wasn't. She wasn't expecting for this to be a very complicated procedure.
I have to tell you, I am sitting here with like royalty, entertainment royalty, between the two of you, the people you've met. I have to say something though. As journalists, don't you agree on a daily basis, people who aren't in the business almost find it very difficult to imagine the things that you do on a daily basis, right? One minute you're with Clinton getting his hair cut on the tarmac. Next minute you're covering something in downtown LA at a shooting. The next minute, you know, just next minute you're sitting with John Travolta. I remember doing that at CNN, you know, sitting in his home. And I remember I said, look, you're Italian. Would you just say something in the camera to Tony and Edith? They'll be thrilled. So, you know, stuff like that. And at the end of your week, you look at what you did and you said, wow. You know, it's just, it's an honor, really, to be able to meet, even if it's just fleeting, all the people that we get to
It's
meet.
fabulous.
It
Don't you
really
think?
is. It really is, and I'm very grateful. Believe me, for all the experiences.
It's an
I've had.
amazing thing. You know, because I always every morning I get up, get dressed, put on all my makeup because I never know who I'm going to run into that day.
Oh, I love that.
Words
See,
to live by.
do you live that
Words
way?
to
I
live
can.
by.
I walk out
I-
in my sweats and look
I
horrendous.
wouldn't even be caught dead. I wouldn't go to throw my garbage out because I run into somebody. It never
But
fails.
you're gorgeous. You don't need it. But I get it. That's part of who you are. I tell you, my sister's like that.
Joan
She's very
Collins
proper,
is like that.
and she always looks lovely. And I was always the frumpy sister. You know, I would just sort of show
But
up in
you're
my
so
sweats.
pretty. You know,
Thank you.
You are. You're beautiful.
You're
And I'm a marathoner. Let's not forget
I
that.
know.
yes,
yes,
turn it up,
girl.
turn it
Turn
up,
around.
yeah.
But being the frumpy sister, I will tell you, I very rarely. I'm just kind of kidding, but she is. My sister's the same way, and I actually admire her because that's just part of who she is. She wants to sort of give, you know, her best face forward.
You never know who you're going to see.
Are you like
Never.
that too?
I'm like
I
that.
am.
You are?
I am.
See, you also
She
look
always
like
looks beautiful.
She does. I'm telling you.
Well, thank you.
Every
Thank
day.
you.
Like yesterday, I ran into so many famous people. It was just fabulous.
Where? Where did you go to run into
Well,
these people?
last night I went to at Neil Sedaka's house. He had a performance, which was sort of fun. He's a very close friend of mine.
I gotta hang with you more.
And
I'm
then-
telling you.
and-
We're friends now, right?
Yeah, we're new best friends.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna. I've recorded this. So okay, keep going.
And then I went to the Tower Bar for dinner last night.
oh, fun. You must be a regular at Craig's, right? Do you
Craig's,
go to Craig's?
She
I'm a
does.
good- yeah,
I saw you
I-
at Craig's before.
I'm also
yes.
Oh, that's right. You go to Craig's too. We
all
should
the
go to Craig's.
time. All the time. I'm
Oh,
always
wait a
at
minute. When I
Craig's.
did a little pre-interview with you, where were you? At the Soho House, of course, eating your lunch. So this is just how you live, right? Yeah. So let me ask you a couple little things because we actually don't even have a ton of time. But briefly, we were going to talk very quickly: fashions, trends. You covered the Oscars, the Grammys, all that stuff this year.
I did.
You usually go to what's it called, Fashion Week in New York. This year you didn't go, but it was very interesting. We had a lot happening in LA, right? We had
Oh,
the-
absolutely.
Yeah. So fashion trends, real quick.
A fashion trend. Well, there's a big movement going on in the fashion industry where people are showing in Los Angeles.
I
which
love it.
They never used to before. But Tommy Hilfiger came out here with a huge to-do. He took over Venice Beach. He's got
was
this
really cool. It was-
new line.
yeah.
and is trending much younger now. He's teamed up with Gigi Hadid, which is an act of brilliance. on
I'm
his
telling
part.
you, that was a brilliant evening.
Oh, so smart, so smart. He's got all of her and her buddies modeling for him right now and designing. And so that's fantastic. And there are other designers who are doing that as well. Rebecca Minkoff was another one. She
was over at the Grove at Rick's Place,
and had
yeah.
adorable fashions that she was showing too.
Were you there for that? That was a great evening.
It,
Or
yeah,
a great day.
it was a
actually.
great day, and we did cover it. I didn't personally go, but we had a lot of coverage, and she was a guest on our Fashion Week show, on our Fashion Week episode for Fashion Police. So,
How do you pick what's in and what's not, and what looks good and what doesn't? Because
know-
boy, Joan was the best at that. Let's face it. Oh my God, she would say, "Just tell it like it is."
And
I love
boy,
it.
do I miss her when I see some of the things that are out now, like the sheer. Sheer is a huge trend right now that I cannot wrap my head around.
Why?
It's just like with everything is sheer with strategically placed appliques and beading.
Oh,
and
that.
everything else is, not even left up to
Hey.
the imagination. And I don't care how good your body is. I
It's
don't-
never good enough.
Thank you.
Really?
It's
But
never good
didn't you
enough.
notice at the Oscars it almost seemed like this year sleeves? And
Sleeves,
I thought,
but
A lot of
wow.
people did sleeves and high necks.
A lot of sleeves,
wouldn't
but they
work
were
for
all
me.
but they were sheer.
what sheer?
They
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
long sleeve, but they were sheer.
Okay.
Right.
Do you think a lot of these trends are because of the Kardashians? They show up at something sheer, walking out of a hotel in
No,
Paris.
I don't think
Next
so.
thing you know, everybody else is showing up in something
Yeah,
sheer.
I don't know that the Kardashians are setting the way for
I don't
high
either.
fashion at all. I mean, I think that
Street,
as
more
far
like
as
regular
streetwear,
girl,
perhaps.
downtown fashion.
Yeah,
Look
but,
at Gucci. Gucci looks like Forever 21 on acid.
Explain
they're
that.
like- well, everything they've got appliques and stars and things, and I mean the plaids and stripes and I'm like unwearable clothes.
All right, what do you do if you're not 21 and maybe you're 31 and you still, or 41?
or 51 or 61 or 71.
Whatever.
How about 75?
What, okay, which I find hard to believe. So I need
know.
to see your birth certificate. You're lying. You're making yourself older than you really are. I
No,
can
no,
tell.
no, I would never.
That's what I tell my
But
kids
it's
to do.
tough
Lie
to
up.
get, it's hard to find clothes because everything is made. It's either very low cut and sleeveless. I am past the sleeveless stage of my life.
Well, Miss Fashion Police, what do you do if that's the case? When everything's sheer and you've got little things covering your nipples.
I think you say, forget it. I don't care if that's the style. I'm going to wear what looks good on me.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't go by what's in. I think you go by what is classic, what suits your body, what is the most flattering on you, and what you feel fantastic in. Because ultimately, the way you hold yourself, the way you smile, the way you carry yourself, that's what's going to make your
keep
look.
running into this thing.
Just pop. It's
you
not. It doesn't matter if you're wearing the latest from Valentino. Who cares?
And it's
You know,
also expensive.
And the problem is that these young stars don't own any clothes. They only have people that put clothes on them, so they stand there. They look like they're completely uncomfortable in these dresses. I own every dress that I ever shot my television show in. I own the dresses.
And she has an amazing.
I
collection.
saved
want to come.
everything.
I want to
Never
come look at
find
your
her.
But
closet.
I'm saying these girls don't own clothes. If you don't own clothes and you don't pick out clothes, you never can wear them. You always look like you're walking around like this. And you see these girls walking the red carpet and they say, this is this one's dress and this is this one. And they don't. I would hate to say that more than anything. Not that I don't believe in identifying with the designer, but not, this is my dress. It's Oscar de la Renta.
You hung out at Studio 54
Right.
with Andy Warhol and
Right.
all those really cool people that I
That's
used
right.
to read about after he was dead, really. And I would think, God, I'm never going to be able to meet this guy.
I'm doing a documentary on Saturday on Studio 54.
Are you really? Tell me about that. Where is that going to appear?
It's probably I'm sure they're going to do it for release. It's done by Ian Schrager, who is one of the
Oh.
owners of Studio. He's producing. Documentaries they used to just be on television, but now I'm sure that this is going to be a major release on it.
With all the people you've met, all the things you've done in your life, fitness, of course, we know you from that as well. What's been the most memorable, perhaps, or what's been the most? Who's really impressed you the most? You can have one or two people if you really want. Go ahead.
I was actually really impressed with Andy Warhol, but I was impressed with Andy. You have to understand that during the Andy Warhol time, not that many people were impressed with him. But I was an artist, and when I studied, I really, emulated Andy Warhol.
Well, you're a creative, and when you're creative, you get other creatives.
I have a very close friend named Richard Wiseman, and he introduced me to Basquiat and every one of the designers in Liechtenstein, and so that's how I met all this group of artists, and that's how I met Andy.
And don't you have one of his paintings
I have
of
a
you?
couple of them. No, not of me.
Not of you. Boy, if you had one of you, but you've got a couple of his.
I have
your
a
home.
couple of his paintings, but not of me. But the man that did all of Andy Warhol's screens, when Andy died, they gave him the screens, and he did a portrait. He did several portraits of me. And Andy Warhol's alleged niece, she did a lot of portraits of me. And Leroy Neiman did 40 portraits of me. And so, I am up to my eyeballs in portraits of me.
Can I? And are they at the house? I actually want to come by
They're
and
all
see some
over
of these.
there. My house is in New York.
Your house in New York is filled with Warhols. What's a girl to do?
It's so funny.
That and a bunch of shoes.
It's so funny because
I know. We got to wrap it up. My board guy's like, "Hurry up, get out of here."
One of my best friends is Clive Davis, and he goes, "This is insulting. Why do you have all these portraits of yourself? Why don't you put them in the closet?" I've never seen so many portraits of one person.
He's just jealous.
No.
Anyway,
no,
I'm messing around. Okay.
I-
How can people go and listen to your show? You're on Amazon.
Amazon Prime, The Nikki Haskell Show.
Okay.
There's-
and
Yes,
there's-
check it out. It's
what's
fantastic.
next? Where are you going next? And more importantly, where are we going next? What's next?
Well, I just did a pilot for a new show called A Flashback to the Future with my partner David Devona, which is me re-interviewing the same people that I interviewed then, and we're talking about going to Cannes and shooting the Cannes Film Festival.
Hang on. I'm coming.
Why
Would
not?
we not have a lot of fun? I will come. I'll do my little show from there.
Oh,
my,
that
I'll
would be great.
No, wouldn't that be the best? Oh,
Yes.
girls,
Greatest.
please, let's do that. I'm serious. I had so much fun. I'm sorry that we have to wrap it up so quickly, but will you both come back?
Why not?
Did you guys,
Love
did you
to.
guys have a good time?
I love being
Yes.
here. It's
Janine,
great.
and you
Always
also
have
do-
a good
You
time.
also
I
do
love
an
you.
important blog. I didn't even get to that. You've got to come back.
Next time we
Okay,
could talk
you wanna-
about my blog. I guess we're through.
I guess we're through, and that was about your divorce that you went through, and you teamed up with a couple of other girls who are doing "I Guess We're Due."
I guess
about-
I do. Which is about weddings. I guess I'm due, which is about babies.
I love
and I
this.
guess
I
we're
love
through.
Brilliance in
I
this
love
room.
that. How
Oh,
cool is
everybody,
that?
thank you
Of
for
course,
joining in, and thank you for listening to my story about the marathon. I appreciate you both being
Congratulations to
Congratulations.
you.
here. Thank you.
Ah,
A little more Rocky music at the end.
yes.
We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for being here for another edition of Deborah Cobalt Live.